What's up, Guiding Bolt fans? Jessica here, and today we're going to explore the Faerun faction known as the Arcane Brotherhood. The Arcane Brotherhood is a small group of evil wizards and sorcerers intent on controlling the lands of the Sword-Cursed North and eventually claiming the entire North. The Brotherhood consists almost entirely of mages. Non-mages are hired to perform those tasks that the mages can't or don't wish to undertake themselves. The organization first began in 1311 DR when the wizard Arcane Brotherhood arrived in Luskan and claimed the host tower there. None are certain when or how the host tower was originally constructed on the island of the mouth of the Mirar River, but it's a fearsome location described as appearing like a gigantic tree made entirely of stone with its bare branches rising hundreds of feet into the air like the claws of a giant hand. Through the years, Arcane Brotherhood, who's the Archmage Arcane of the organization, slowly grew the Arcane Brotherhood mage by mage through promises of great power and wealth. The methods deployed by the Brotherhood in their quest to rule the North have mixed yielded results at best. The Brotherhood did succeed in controlling Luskan though. Despite being governed by 5 High Captains, everyone truly knows the High Captains are just the puppets of the Brotherhood. In 1361, Luskan managed to defeat the Northlanders of Ruthven and seize control of the island, but the Lord's Alliance forced Luskan to give it up. It was shortly after this that the Brotherhood began to decline as internal rivalries within the society began to get fierce. 2 of the ranking mages assassinated Grieth's top assistant and forced Grieth to flee. He barely escaped to Miramar with his life. Arcane Brotherhood was forced to remain hiding to allow himself time to heal. During this time, he met the Aranese Nephithis, who offered to grant the frail, wounded wizard that which he so desperately sought, more time and life immortal. Nephithis and Grieth made a bargain. She would help him to become a lich and retake the host tower, and he would help her take out the newly created federation known as the Silver Marches. Upon reaching lichdom, Arcane and Nephithis returned to the host tower, slaughtered all of the traitors, and regained control over the High Captains. Since that hellish night in the tower, the pair have labored tirelessly to rebuild the Arcane Brotherhood, seeking out and promoting those loyal to the organization and its goals of ruling the North. The Arcane Brotherhood has 5 ranking primary members. The first is the Archmage Arcane, who is the supreme ruler of the organization. Arcane Brotherhood, the society's founding Archmage, seldom leaves his private chambers in the host tower, summoning those he wishes to speak to his audience chamber. He spends most of his time in solitude, except for the frequent visits of Nephithis. Prior to starting the Brotherhood, Arcane spent the vast majority of his unnaturally lifespan seeking the secrets of Faerun's most powerful magic, traveling the length and breadth of the world to attain depths of arcane knowledge. Under the Archmage are 4 appointed Overwizards who serve as primary agents in both the host tower and the organization. Each Overwizard oversees and manages the Brotherhood's interests in one quadrant of Faerun, each aligning with the cardinal point on a compass. In alignment with their quadrant, each of the 4 Overwizards resides in a corresponding spire of the host tower. The Overwizard responsible for the North Tower is Valindra's Shadowmantle, a moon elf originally hailing from the High Forest. She trained as a wizard, but frustrated with the slow pace of her education, she left her homeland to pursue her own goals. She made her way to Miramar, where she apprenticed for an old wizard. She spent a year working with her mentor before she murdered him and stole his spellbooks and magic items. After moving on to Luskan, she made contact with the Brotherhood and earned a place among its lesser agents. Melindar was a loyal subordinate for 10 years before being promoted to Overwizard after the Purge of Traitors. Melinda is self-centered and cares little for anything that doesn't promote her own goals or interests. She prides herself on her intellect and would rather talk her way out of a fight than blast through an opponent with magic. The master of the East Tower is Over-Wizard Romardo Domain. Romardo is a jovial human originally from Termish. He continues to carry out the customs and traditions from his homeland, despite not having visited it for the past 20 years. The younger son of a wealthy merchant, Romardo left his family after his older brother died. Not wanting to be saddled with taking up his father's mantle, he left to continue his magic studies. Outwardly friendly and genial, Romardo is interested only in taking what he wants, no matter who gets hurt in the process. Within the peculiar limits of his personal code of ethics, though. He does not willingly harm children directly, for example, nor does he refuse to accept the honest surrender of a beaten foe. Romardo truly believes that the Arcane Brotherhood can govern the North far better than the undisciplined patchwork of city-states that currently exist. Erebeth Rarum is the human over-wizard of the South Tower. The oldest daughter of the Marqueon of Mirabar, her involvement with the Brotherhood has been nothing but an acute embarrassment to her family, much to her own delight. Lulling the fact she would be packed off to marry some noble git in order to secure more lands and wealth for her family, Erebeth was a rebellious child. At 14, her sorcery powers began to manifest, and at 16, she was sent off to a wizard cousin in Waterdeep with the hopes that she would be tamed. The cousin instead encouraged her defiance, and after sabotaging her own wedding, she fled the city guard to Luskan, where she joined the Brotherhood. The final over-wizard and master of the West Tower is Blaskar Lothlon. Originally from Waterdeep, Blaskar was a member of the Watchful Order of Magistrates and Protectors until the guild discovered that he was stealing rare magical components from its stores. Unable to practice magic legally in the city, Blaskar sold his services to any who would pay him and earned a reputation as a completely amoral spellcaster who would take even the most despicable job if the coin was right. The mercenary wizard came to the attention of the Brotherhood after soundly defeating raiders attacking a smuggler's vessel who was made an offer to join the Brotherhood. The Arcane Brotherhood is willing to recruit anyone so long as the person proves their loyalty and competence. They have no objections to profit or power-minded individuals so long as they're willing to serve the organization in whatever capacity they are directed to. The over-wizards are free to take on what apprentices they desire, but they become responsible for the conduct of their students. A mage who desires membership in the Brotherhood must eventually meet and pass the scrutiny of the Archmage Arcane, an audience that has left more than one Harper spy or independent do-gooder bereft of life and limb. Naturally, the organization employs non-spellcasters for its need of bodyguards, thieves, informants, spies, and servants. The mages leave the recruitment and outfitting of pirates and brigands to the high captains of Luskan, and it's through this quintet that the Brotherhood supplies its raiders with instructions. The seafaring vessels of Luskans are more like warships carrying orders to harass all ships using the ports of Neverwinter and Waterdeep. The Brotherhood sponsors these Seahawks and gives them leave to prey on ships and ports along the Sword Coast. Arkham even assigns lower-level mages to various pirate ships so that the raiders may have the benefit of arcane support for their operations. As difficult as sea travel can be in the region, the Brotherhood ensures travel on land is just as dangerous by sponsoring brigands to conduct caravan raids through the support of spellcasters and wondrous magical items. Although slavery is not practiced in Luskan by order of the Brotherhood, the trade in slaves is carried out with relative openness. Most of the slavers operating in the city do so at the behest of the Brotherhood, and the mages enjoy a percentage of the profits raised by this trade. Beyond slavery, the Brotherhood also deals in drugs. The Brotherhood has traded spells to the Red Wizards of Thay and trade for shipments of their Thayan's memory-lost drug, which the Brotherhood then sells at a cut-rate price to the citizens of the Silver Marches to get them drug-addicted. In current times, the Brotherhood is broken and scattered, with little history to fill in the gaps, or sources in the least that agree with one another. Luskan has devolved into chaos, and the High Captains no longer answer to the Brotherhood. The host tower lies half ruined and haunted by undead. Whether any wizards still lurk in the host tower's alien spires, perhaps controlling the undead, is a matter of speculation and idle gossip. The Lich Arcane was forced into his phylactery over 100 years ago, and his four-pointed wizards have long disappeared. At present, there are 5 wizards vying for leadership. Each has their own supporters in the Brotherhood, but none strong enough to claim Archmage Arcane. There's also the belief that Arcane will eventually return to claim his position as head of the organization, and this possibility keeps the 5 wizards from moving too aggressively. The 5 aspiring leaders have bases of operation across the north, trying to rebuild the organization's trade networks and bring the area back under their control. The wizards include Gendrick the Blue in Port Last, Teva Magehand Littlewind in Baldur's Gate, Zelen Esranthyr in Neverwinter, Druid the Raven in Waterdeep, and the Necromancer Kashan el-Farid in Luskan. 4 main goals now drive the activities of the organization. 1. Power through profit. The Brotherhood dreams of being the ultimate power in Faerun, and they understand that coin, not titles or birthrights, nor magical or military might, is king in the north. 2. Rebuild Luskan. Quelling the chaos in Luskan is the first step in making the city a useful base again, since no trade will flow into the city until merchants can travel there without undue risk of loss. 3. Tip the balance in Neverwinter. Neverwinter is a key target for the Brotherhood. Its recent resurgence has made business boom, and the ongoing power struggles and other destabilizing elements present ample opportunities for the Arcane Brotherhood to insinuate itself into the political and economic landscape. The Brotherhood isn't looking to rule Neverwinter, but to hold sway over whoever ends up in control. And 4. Broker an alliance in Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate is the richest pot for the taking on the Sword Coast, but as the new player in an established pecking order of guilds and regional interests, the organization has been having a hard time expanding its influence in the city. And that does it for today's quick look into the Arcane Brotherhood. If you're about to dive into the new campaign set in Icewind Dale, be sure to check out Episode 2 from Rise of Tiamat. It's got a great little side adventure featuring Macath the Crimson, a tiefling sorcerer from the Arcane Brotherhood. It includes the Sea of Moving Ice, a white dragon, and an iceberg lair. We appreciate you guys watching our content. If you found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up. Until next time, happy gaming.